Let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Um, let's have a little chatty chat. Um, Give me 1 second. Mm, Interesting. I was part of I really wasn't part of it. I was watching a conversation take place last night on someone's platform that I'm actually subscribed to. And I really enjoy her videos where she talks about a lot of hidden information that we don't know about celebrities, and a lot of times it's not really flattering. The things that she brings up, or the points that she brings up, or the the backstory or the hidden story of a lot of these political, not political figures, but some of them are kind of political figures in a sense, but also celebrities and things we didn't know about them, and however she decides to present that on her forum, that is her prerogative. I have no issue with it, and I'm not going to challenge that because I enjoy the forum, even if I may not necessarily always agree with, the views or the topic at hand. But I always find a way to be gracious and respectful to any host of their own platform because everyone has a right to their own vision. Everyone has a right to see things as they see fit. You know, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just how it is. It's only wrong when you seek to violate people and to harm people and to bully people and to destroy other people. But it is not wrong to say, I don't like what this person stands for. There may be things that I stand for that people don't like, and that's fine. As long as you stay in your motherfucking lane and as long as you're respectful and you're not slandering me, we're good. Because quite frankly, I don't give a fuck who don't like what I say. So she was talking about Stephanie Mills and her interview that she did recently. I think it was a few weeks back. Well, at least they posted it a few weeks back. The interview that Miss Mills did on Vlad TV. And what I don't understand is I wanted to hear more about her experience working in the industry. I wanted to hear more about her experiences of, her music, her musical background and stuff like that. That is what I wanted to listen to. I didn't really want to hear her take on the Me Too movement. But I guess for views and sensationalism, whatever, they always have to ask a woman, especially a black woman of her stature, what she thinks about the current state of the Me Too movement and all of that stuff, right? And Miss Mills basically said she did not believe all the women were innocent who were claiming to have been violated. And a lot of people are upset with her choice of words. And I get that. I get that totally. The reason I get that, and it's not a question on whether or not I agree with her, because I'm not stupid enough to come on here and say, you know, all of those women, yeah, some of them may have been innocent, but a lot of them, were not innocent. I'm not stupid enough to come on here and say that. Even I won't say that. And I'm not calling Stephanie Mills stupid, but I'm just saying I'm not dumb enough as a gay man to come on here and say that, whether I believe it or not, because there are just certain things that sometimes, I could say it. I could say it. And again, it's not a question of whether I agree with her or not. It's the question of should she have answered that? It's a question of should that question should even come up in an interview with Stephanie Mills, because Stephanie Mills has been in the industry for a long time. So maybe that's why the question came up. But the more and more she talked, I said, "Oh, Miss Mills, you are going down a trajectory, a path that I don't think you want to go down." She could have simply said something like, everyone has a story. I wasn't there. And she could have left it at that. Now, behind the scenes, she could have had a whole nother conversation. But when you are a public figure, and I understand she's unapologetic, she said it in the interview, and I have to respect that much about her. At least she says, I'm unapologetic. I don't care what people think. I get that. But a large percentage of your audience is female. And I'm not saying that you have to be dishonest. What I'm saying is that there are some things that people just should not say publicly. When you are a public figure, you have to be smarter than that, because she was baited into talking about that when the only thing the interview should have been about is her experiences in the music industry, her struggles in the music industry, her victories in the music industry, her interacting with other celebrities. Now if she was given some tea about who she didn't like in the industry, that would have been different. Because even though she tries to tiptoe around it, we all know that she really does not like Diana Ross. I mean, come on now. Number one, Stephanie Mills was in love with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson did not return those affections. He did not return those affections. He was actually, because he played in The Wiz with Diana Ross, the role that Stephanie Mills originated on Broadway or the stage. She didn't get to be Dorothy in the film. They wanted a bigger star and Diana Ross was a much bigger star at that time. She still is, if you ask me. And Diana Ross was a vixen. Not only was she beautiful and talented, she was a vixen. And Michael Jackson had an infatuation for and of Diana Ross. And Stephanie Mills, we know that there's some enmity there. We know it. Now, if they would have talked about that, that would have been different. But talking about the Me Too movement and talking about how she did preference it with, she did say that if the charges against those men are true, then they deserve to be punished. But the problem is that when you speak on matters that are sensitive like that, and you say things like all of those women were not innocent, when you say things like that, even though you're not trying to vilify the actual victims, even though you're not trying to purposely vilify the actual victims, you're actually doing that and doing them a disservice, because that's such a precarious topic, number one. And it causes ripple effects. And even though I don't have an issue with what she said, I don't have an issue with how she feels. But just because you feel everything doesn't mean you have to say it, especially when you are a public figure. You can't say everything that you feel. It's just the way that it is. There are things that I feel, but I don't say, because I know I say I don't give a fuck what people think, but I'm trying to have some sensitivity. Not no fucking weakness, because I will say what the fuck I want to, but I'm trying to have some sensitivity for people that may watch and may, you know what I'm saying? A certain sensitivity. Then she brought up Bill Cosby, and she said, well, Mr. Cosby never did any of those things to me. I know his wife. I've been to his home, and, I know him, and he's never done any of the things to me that I was accused of. And like one of the hosts of that show said last night, no offense, but she's not his type. Bill Cosby mainly went after either light-skinned black women or he went after white women. Because Bill Cosby is a colorist, he's a misogynist, and he's a very, very twisted man. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about me saying that. I don't like Bill Cosby. I don't give a fuck how much he gave to Howard. I don't give a fuck how much he gave to the Negro College Fund. That's all well, fine, and good. But I don't like Bill Cosby. I never bought into the facade of what was his name on the Cosby Show? What was his name on the Cosby Show? I forgot. Claire and I forgot his name on the Cosby Show. I know Claire Huxtable. You know, Dr. Huxtable. Let's just say that. I never fell for the Dr. Huxtable facade because I knew, number one, I knew that there was a darker side to how Black people lived. He wanted to present an image of Black people to the world, not to help Black people create that image in reality, because he can give to colleges all the fuck he wants. But once you try to get into those colleges, there are restrictive measures they take to keep certain people out. They only allow ghetto ratchet, people pretending to have class into those places, like Howard and those other so-called Black colleges. They're very restrictive in who they let in, very much so. Because if it was really about helping the people, you wouldn't have to have no certain motherfucking grade point average and all that bullshit. They would give everybody a motherfucking chance. But they don't do that. They only let certain people in because it's all a big boule cult. I'm sorry, not a boule cult. It's all a big Black excellence cult. Excuse me. They push the boule and the bougie out. Because I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't see her hanging with her now because I ain't gonna say but somebody put a bug in Felicia Rashad's ear about Cora Masters Berry, Marion Barry's widow. When I saw, I think his name was Cliff Huxtable. Cliff. Yeah, that was his name, Cliff. I finally remembered. When I saw Felicia Rashad hanging around Cora Masters Berry, I said, oh my God. I said, you mean to tell me that this woman is your friend? All of the dirty, backhanded shit this bitch has done in D.C.? Yeah, I said it. Yes, Cora Masters Berry ain't shit. She ain't shit. And now she's complaining about the things happening in D.C. that she helped to put in place. But that's another story. So I was never fooled by that. So Stephanie Mills was saying in this interview he never did anything to her to molest or to violate her. Well, like I said, she's really not his type. It's not that I don't think that Stephanie Mills is a beautiful woman, but Bill Cosby is a colorist. He's a colorist. He only goes after certain types of women, and they are either white or they are biracial looking women. If he does go after a woman that's of a browner or darker complexion, usually she has certain features like a Beverly Johnson, because Beverly Johnson was a model and she was fabulous. Still is. So just because the point that I'm making is this, just because he did not do those things to you, that does not mean that he did not do those things. And even though she tried to clean it up and say, well, I'm not saying that those things didn't happen to other women, but he didn't do those things to me. It's the but right there. It's the same thing that happened to Felicia Rashad. It's the same thing. Just because you spent time with his wife and you've been to his house, it doesn't mean that he was going to perpetrate those things on you. I'm sure if I spent time at his house and everything, he wouldn't have done it on me because I'm a man and I don't think Bill Cosby like men. That's one thing I ain't gonna put on him. He's not gay or bisexual. I don't think he messed with no men. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing we ain't gonna put on him. But he's misogynist. He's nasty. He has a very nasty spirit, and I don't care what anybody thinks. So she went down the line. She talked about the situation with R. Kelly. She said that in this Vlad interview, she was saying that R. Kelly, even though, and she's right about what she is now, she's right about this. The parents have a responsibility too. The parents who sent their girls, their children, because they were children. I don't care if they were 16 and 15, they were children. They were girls. They sent those girls with R. Kelly, some of those parents. So they have a responsibility in that too. She was saying that, and she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. But the problem is that there are people who have been victims of molestation, rape, abuse. There are a lot of women, black and white, because Harvey Weinstein, he harmed a plethora of women. There are women who've been through that on both sides of the spectrum. And they really don't want to hear someone saying, especially another woman saying, well, listen, it didn't happen to me, but they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that because that kind of, how can I put it? It's kind of almost in the same breath. It's like you're saying, well, he didn't do it to me, so it didn't happen. But maybe it did happen to those women, but it didn't happen. It happened, but it didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of convoluted. And I'm a firm believer of where there's smoke, there's fire. And then, people were saying that, every time a black man gets accused of being a creep or a pervert or a weirdo, the black community always wants to go to, well, Elvis did this or Harvey Weinstein did this and this person did that. But ho. We get all that. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad. We get all that. So being a creep, a pervert, and a weirdo and a violator, you're supposed to get a pass because you're a black man? Really? And I get, or we're supposed to look at it differently because you're a black man? And a lot of these black men don't really respect or value black women any motherfucking way. They abuse black women. They take advantage of them, some of them. They use them. So we're supposed to turn a blind eye simply because they're black men, and the poor black man don't get no breaks. And then she said something in the interview with Vlad TV that I think really pushed a lot of women to, especially a lot of victims, to a breaking point. She said something to the effect of, basically, men are vulnerable too. And that she thinks that a lot of these black men were set up by women. The only black man that the few cases of black men being set up by women, I know Marion Barry was set up by that hooker, Rashida Moore. We all know that here in DC. We all know that was a setup. But the people that helped set him up were other black men. See, people keep thinking that it was white people that set Marion Barry up. No, it wasn't no white people. It was niggas that set him up. It was other black people that set him up. Jealous ass black people that set him up. Because they wanted him out of the way so they could do exactly what they're doing in DC now, which is gentrifying. So they could put a Muriel Bowser in place and in position to implement what they wanted done now to DC, which was push the black people out and bring in the invaders. Let's tell the truth, but that's another story. But she said that she believes that men are vulnerable too, and that a lot of these men were set up. And I think that is what really pushed a lot. I think that's what really offended a lot of the people a lot of the women especially, who were watching her. And she was saying that she's unapologetically black. Okay, nobody has a problem with that. But I want people to understand something, and I want to take a look at something. First of all, let's get this straight. As black people in America, we have to understand something. Everybody ain't your brother, and everybody ain't your motherfucking sister. Everybody is not your brother, and everybody is not your sister. I don't carry that mantle with me. You feel what I'm saying? Just because you skin folk don't mean you kinfolk. Because I can tell you all a lot of stories of how black people, particularly black men, have treated me throughout my life. And this was even before I came out of the closet. Black men have an apathy when it comes to other black people, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad. Black men have an apathy for other black women. I'm sorry, for black women, not other, excuse me, for black women, and they have an apathy for black men. They really do. And it has no boundaries. Even in the entertainment industry, black men don't stick together. They give more praise to white men in the industry than they do to each other. Look how Rakim made that statement, the rapper Rakim. Look how he made that statement that Eminem is the greatest rapper to him of all times. You're going to put a white boy over all of your brothers and sisters? For you to say some shit like that? You don't hear white boys doing that to them. For real, not much. And if it is, it's in a different type of energy. But when you have a black man like Rakim, somebody with all that power and energy to put Eminem on that throne, that shows you what I'm talking about. How black men have an apathy for each other. The reason that the rap game is the way that it is now is because most of those niggas have killed the real rappers off. They've killed off all of their so-called brothers. They've killed them off. We are not all the same. We come from different tribes. Some of us were already here in America. Some of us come from different parts of the world. And depending on what type of elemental energies that you're working with, that also determines on whether or not you get along with the people that you're around. Usually I get along better with earth people and water people. Usually I get along with them better. So that's Cancers, Pisces, Scorpios. Pisces can be a little interesting, but Cancers, Scorpios, Pisces, Tauruses, Capricorns. I get along mainly with the female Tauruses. The men Tauruses, they ain't shit. But female Tauruses, I like them. Usually the women signs, with the exception of Pisces, I tend to get along with them a little bit better. You know what I mean? I tend to get along with them a little bit better. But all of these things come into play when it comes to people talking about, oh, you my brother, you my brother, you my... No, I don't believe in all of that malarkey that all, we all family because we black. No, we're not. That shit only benefits certain people when they want to get something from you. We're not all the same. All of us don't come from the same tribes. Some of these niggas come from tribes where they are just designed to kill, murder, and destroy other black people and to praise racist white people. But people don't want to talk about that. And then it was brought up about Snoop Dogg attacking Gayle King when she did the interview in regards to Kobe Bryant. He not only attacked her, he threatened her as well. As someone brought up in the live. He not only attacked her, he threatened her as well. But he didn't have anything to say about Abigail Disney when she referred to Kobe Bryant as a rape word ist. He didn't have anything to say about her. He threatened Gayle King. He said, and I'm not no Gayle King fan. I'm not no Oprah Winfrey fan. It's not about that. It's about right and wrong. And certain things you just don't say and certain things you just don't do. You get what I'm saying? And I like this person's channel because they're not into idolatry and worshiping celebrities. I don't worship celebrities. I can admire someone's talent from afar. I don't worship celebrities because I know a lot of those celebrities have problems. A lot of them have the so-called Antichrist stamp right on them, but I know that's above people's thinking. They don't get what I'm saying. And let me break it down to you what I'm saying. We live in a culture now where everyone is following somebody. You follow people on YouTube. You follow people on Instagram. You follow people on Twitter. You follow people everywhere they go. You follow the words of other people. You follow the thoughts and ideologies of other people. But nobody wants to follow their own spirit anymore. Nobody is led by their own spirit anymore. Everyone is led by the words and thoughts of someone else. And to me, that is idolatry, or whatever you want to call it. I might be saying it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Idol worship. And idols can be anything. But the thing with idol worship, the reason that it's such a problem is because it's devoid of spirit. Because you don't have to worship spirit. The only thing that requires you to worship it is idols and materialism. That is why it says in these Bibles, even that God says, thou shalt not bow down before any graven image. That even tells you that. And even in the Bible, it tells you that bullshit. Because what it's telling you is that it's the spirit you need to adhere to. The spirit, not the physical. Here's what I'm talking about. Everyone keeps talking about the end of days, the end of the world. And, a lot of these people, they just want the world to end because a lot of these people are miserable and they're unhappy. They're unhappy in their lives and they're pushing that out into the universe because I can feel it. I can feel the despair, the depression. I feel all of that that's in the universe. The energy is very, very heavy. And if you're not careful, you can also take on these characteristics and you can think that it's you. And the reason that I know this is because I experienced it, because I'm a real spiritualist. I'm not a book scholar. I feel, I see, and I know. Feel, see, know. I'm not a book scholar. I am a spiritualist. I'm an occultist. And I feel these things. And I see these things. And this is what I see. A lot of these motherfucking so-called religious people on YouTube are full of shit. It's all they're cap. They're bullshit. And they are trying to instill a mantra of fear inside of people by constantly talking about the end of the world and the Antichrist taking over. I was watching something earlier this morning because I do study stuff because for spiritual information. I was watching something earlier today and it was about unmasking the Antichrist or something like that. And this person has like 1.4 million views on that particular video. I was watching something else too. Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules, he has a new movie out called Left Behind, The Rise of the Antichrist or something like that. And I watched the trailer. I doubt if I look at the movie looks kind of cheesy. I've seen those Left Behind movies before and all that stuff. Here's the thing. A lot of people are going by the analytical part of it, meaning they're only going by the left side of the brain, which is the intellect, which is masculine energy. And they're not tapping into the right, which is the spirit. Words mean nothing when it's devoid of spirit. And a lot of people literally take the words that they see in the so-called word, they take it as a literal meaning. And when you take things as a literal meaning and you don't look beyond, I don't give a fuck who gets offended. If you don't look beyond the actual words for the spirit of it, then you are going to be deceived and trapped. We have to remember words come from man. Spirit comes from woman. And you can't believe the words of every fucking man because men always have a fucking agenda. And if women are following men with these agendas, then you can't believe some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth either, especially if they are working under the guise of the misogyny that comes along with religion. So in this particular, I guess you could say it was a mockumentary, this guy was talking about the rise of the Antichrist. And he was talking about how, according to the book, according to the Bible, God is the one who's going to allow the Antichrist to rule on earth, not Satan. That God is the one who's going to do that. Then they talked about how millions of people are going to vanish during the rapture. You know, they call this the tribulation period, right? Or prior to the tribulation period. So here's my whole thing. Where does it say in the Bible that millions and millions of people are going to disappear? Let me pull it up. Let me see if it says anything in the Bible about that. And it's not important. I'm not a follower of that doctrine, but that is in my roots. And I know that the Bible is a book of spells and stuff like that. We get that. Give me a second. Because I want to break this down. Okay. I can't find it anywhere in the Bible where it says that people will actually disappear. I can't find it. I'm looking for it, but I cannot find it. Let me try something else. And let me say this as a disclaimer. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm not saying that it ain't going to happen. I'm not here to debate any of that. But I'm trying to find a more spiritual way of looking at it. Because people are constantly listening to other people, and they're looking at things through the eyes of carnality. And when you are supposed to be reading the word, you should be reading it through the lens of spirituality, of the spirit. And people are not doing that. And they're bringing about literal meanings that's causing fear and pandemonium. So it says in Thessalonians, those who are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, or whatever the case may be. Now, okay, they're saying that in Thessalonians. But all of the depictions of the rapture that you see in these movies, people are just disappearing. But it's saying that people will be caught up in the air to meet the so-called Lord, right? They're saying people will be caught up in the air. But in a lot of these movies, people just disappear. You feel what I'm saying? You see the contradiction. I'm not saying it in a way to try to conflict it, but I'm making a point. If people are going to be caught up in the air, if they're going to be caught up in the air, then does that mean they're going to be beamed up on spaceships? Because if people are in the air, then we should be able to see them. But in the movies that depict the rapture, they disappear and they're just gone. They disappear and they're just gone. And there are people that are left here on earth. Come on now, let's really think about this. What is it really trying to tell us? In Thessalonians, it says that first, I think, will it be the dead that will be called up first? And then the living will meet the dead in the air during the so-called rapture, right? So if the dead is going to rise up, if the dead is going to rise up to meet the Lord in the air, then what is that really saying? Does that mean literally that they're going to be up in the air to meet the Lord? Does that mean that really literally? Does that mean that people are going to be rising up out of the grave literally? Or are they talking about something else entirely different? Because see, people read that and they take it literally. Just like they read the stories about the Antichrist and they take it literally. The rapture is not about people being zapped up into the air. That's not what no. That's not what they're talking about. The rapture, I mean, that's the theatrics of it. Evidently, there was something going on back in biblical times, and they're intertwining it with future events. So here is my thing. If there's a rapture that's supposed to be coming, and I'm not saying that it's not, what I'm saying is this. Could it have happened before? Are they retelling events that already happened before? Because, you know, they took a lot of books out of the Bible. But see, they won't tell you that when they're making these long, drawn out, fear-based videos to scare people into Christianity. The rapture is not about people going into the air per se. It's more so about people elevating their consciousness to a level where others will not be able to understand them anymore. So it's almost like they have disappeared. It's like you'll be living in this world, but you won't. It's almost like you'll be like a like that entity in Star Trek, the one that Wesley Crusher. I know a lot of people not Star Trek, the Next Generation fans. Like it's almost like that entity that could travel between realms. People are going to disappear, but they'll still be here in a sense. You see what I'm saying? It's just that when people reach a certain level of Christ consciousness, they will no longer be bound by the ways of life. And when I say Christ consciousness, I'm not talking about traditional Christianity. They will no longer be, or we will no longer be bound by the same laws that you all are bounded by. People will disappear, but they're not going to disappear into thin air. It's just that they're going to be living a totally different life. They're going to become anew. They're going to be new people. And they're not going to be involved in a lot of the bullshit that goes on in this world anymore. So it's going to almost be like they did disappear. They won't come around as much. It's going to be like living in a totally different dimension. But nobody's going to come and take you there. See, you have to do the work yourself. And I know a lot of people ain't going to like hearing that, but that's the way that it is. The rapture is about spiritual evolution. And it's about you turning away from carnality and you turning to your spirit, going within you, embracing those things in you that you don't want to. Embracing those things in you that make you uncomfortable. Because remember, when Jesus was going through his initiation, he went into hell. And hell is going into the deepest part of, let me just say, how can I put it? Hell is really going into the deepest part of your mind that you don't want to be in, embracing those demons in you so you can overcome them. The Bible is all about your spiritual evolution, but they've made it into some type of theatrical play because they knew down the line humanity would become dumb, stupid, and delayed and be idol worshipers. So when it comes to the Antichrist is already here. It's called Hollywood. It's called social media. It's called idol worshiping. There's no one person that's going to rise up. And if some fool do try to rise up and talk about I am the returned Lord, if some fool do that, and people start believing that fool, then they deserve to go wherever he go. But it's not literal. And that is the circle they have people running. A lot of these so-called traditional Christians, that is what they have them running in. You're supposed to be serving the Lord within you. You're supposed to be serving your Christ consciousness, your high counsel, the God that's within you, that the universe or the supreme spirit put within you. You're supposed to have a relationship individually with that energy or spirit. But instead, we're too busy waiting for the Antichrist to come. If you notice, they have more movies about the Antichrist than they do Christ. Catch that motherfucking tea. What's that about? Because they're feeding something, all of them. It reminds me of Jim Jones. Now, what's interesting in this documentary or mockumentary that this guy was doing talking about the Antichrist, what I find interesting is that he was saying, going back to what I was saying earlier, he was saying that God is the one who puts the Antichrist in position and in place. And he used biblical verses to show that. I forgot the verses that he used, but he put biblical verses to show that. And it really makes you think God is going to put the Antichrist in position and in place to destroy humanity, right? So the question remains, and he actually was showing pictures of other YouTube occultists who said that God and the devil are the same person. So it makes you wonder, is God and Satan the same person? Is Jesus and Satan the same person? Because from my understanding, satanic energy is the darker primordial side of the Christ energy. So what's really going on? I didn't say this. This man who's supposed to be a high-ranking Christian, he said that God is going to put the Antichrist in place to destroy humanity, basically. Now, he didn't say that verbatim, but that's what he said. So if that is the case, why can't we question that? Why can't we question that and say, well, wait a minute. I thought the Antichrist was a child of the devil. No, not according to him, because it's not the devil who puts the Antichrist in place. The devil, or Satan, as you all call him, he's going to influence the so-called Antichrist allegedly. But the person who puts him in power is God. I think, or rather I know, that this story of the Antichrist, this happened before. And they're trying to intertwine it into future events. And what they do is they use CIA fear tactics to scare people into submission. Jim Jones did the same thing. Jim Jones did the same thing to his followers back in the 60s and 70s. There have been a lot of what people would call natural disasters and stuff like that, of that nature. And a lot of people are saying that this is a sign of the end of the world and all of these other, apocalyptic, viewpoints. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. But what I do know is that these events that are taking place, earthquakes, floods, natural disasters, people going crazy, these things have happened before. And they didn't just happen in the days of Noah, as people would like to say. They didn't just happen in the days of Noah. They happened before Noah. They happened before Noah's Noah. They've happened repeatedly. This is the only time that this happened. And that is where they get people binded up and confused and easily manipulated, because they want you to think that these timeline of events, they want you to believe that they're linear. They don't want you to believe that they're multilinear and multidimensional and multi-reality based. You feel what I'm saying? They're trying to pull different, I ain't even gonna get into that. They don't want you to think. They want you to be in fear. Jim Jones did the exact same thing to his congregation, the People's Temple, back in the 60s and 70s. He told his people before he moved them out to Ukiah, California, sometime in the 70s, I believe. The People's Temple was located and based in Indiana. He told his people that he had a vision of Armageddon. Now, this was back in the late 60s, early 70s. He told the people back then, I have a vision of Armageddon and of a nuclear holocaust. And there are only several places in the world that will be protected from this. Ukiah, California was one of them. And then from Ukiah, he moved the headquarters for the People's Temple to Ukiah, California. And then from there, he moved them to Guyana, where he murdered them. Which Jim Jones, that was a whole CIA project anyway. A lot of these people, they are misleading people, and they are leading people to where they want them to be. They are leading people in fear and confusion. And I'm not telling people to follow me. You ain't got to follow me. I'm telling people to follow your own heart. I'm telling people to follow the Spirit and the Christ within you, if that's what you follow. I'm an occultist, so I look at all spiritual systems and I connect them back to where I came from and my roots. I was Methodist. I was christened as a Methodist, and I've also been baptized as well. All of these people that talk about idolatry and idol worship, like that person in that video unmasking the Antichrist, like that person, they are also trying to become an idol. They're also into idolatry worship because they're giving all of their energy to the so-called Antichrist. They're putting this Antichrist on a pedestal that it shouldn't be on. The Antichrist is not a person. People can inhabit those qualities, but the Antichrist is a system of thinking. It is a way of life. And just because you can quote scriptures, and just because you think that you're very, I used to hear the old time people say, even the devil know the Bible. Remember, old time people used to say that. They would say even the devil can quote every scripture in the Bible. That doesn't make you Christ minded or Christ like or tap into Christ consciousness just because you can quote every word in the Bible. Because just because you can quote every word does not mean that you're Christ like. And it does not mean you're operating on a high vibrational frequency. It just means you know how to quote scriptures and you know how to make them sound good to people, to manipulate them. That's low level shit. Even in the so-called conscious community, they have idol worship. You worship idols in that fucking black occult conscious community. I don't. Never did. There were those that I liked, but I always gave them motherfuckers a side eye too. I give everybody the side eye. I give everybody the side eye because they're human. They're of flesh. And I don't care if they give me the side eye. I get it. I don't trust flesh. What I trust undoubtedly is the spirit, because the spirit has never led me wrong. The only person that has led me wrong is my fleshly desires. But the spirit has never led me wrong. And what's happening now is a lot of people are detached from spirit, which is Christ, which is really feminine energy. That is why you have so many men that are in place speaking for Christ. And that is why the message is so distorted, because they are out of pocket and they're not aligned to do that because they're men and they're speaking from a misogynistic masculine point. Christ is feminine energy. That is why it's so suppressed. You ain't never thought that he gave his only begotten daughter to be sacrificed, Mary Magdalena, who's the real Christ, but ain't nobody talking about that. Right? Ain't nobody talking about that, right? Anything that men put their motherfucking hands on, they pervert and they use it for their own motherfucking satisfaction and their own gratification. So that is why when I listen to men try to talk the word, it comes off as fear-based because it's masculine energy trying to dictate and command you what you should do. And if you don't do it, off with your head, or you're going to be condemned to hell in darkness and fire. No, that's where a lot of you are going. That's why you're talking about it all the time. A lot of these so-called famous preachers and all these so-called famous Christian YouTubers with millions of subscribers, that's where you're going. That's the reality you've created in your mind. That's where you're going. The Antichrist is going to devour you because that's what you're giving your energy to. You're giving your energy to fear. This isn't about being prepared. The word means nothing if it's devoid of the spirit. The word means nothing if it's devoid of spirit. Men cannot give you spirit. We can't give you spirit. Men can give you words and knowledge, but they can't give you spirit. The only person that can give you spirit is the woman. And that's mainly the black woman. That's why black women shouldn't follow some of these motherfucking men. Why should you follow them when you're the one with the spirit? They should be following you. And I don't mean in a misogynistic way that they've implemented. I don't mean it in that way. Because that's not how women get down. The Antichrist is not a person. It's a system of thinking. And what are you talking about? It's already here. Look at Hollywood. Look at social media. Look at YouTube. That's part of social media. Look at how people treat each other. Nobody is connected to that Christ energy anymore. Nobody is connected to spirit anymore because Christ and spirit go hand in hand. Nobody's connected to that anymore. People say that they meditate. You got motherfuckers telling people to meditate and teaching people how to meditate, but what are you teaching them to meditate on? Their archetypes? How to connect to and be part of this antichrist system? Is that what you're teaching people to meditate on? I'm just asking questions. People say meditate on the word, but if you're not meditating on the spirit, what is meditating on the word going to do for you? Because just because it's written in a book, don't make it spiritual. What makes it spiritual is you, not the person teaching you. Because we get into this idolatry and this idol worship, even people get into that even within the Christian church. You worship the pastor. You worship the exterior of the church. You worshiping members. But ain't nobody worshiping God or Christ. If that's what you believe. I don't do worship. I do fellowship. I don't do worship. I have a relationship. I'm not a slave, so I don't do worship. Worshiping is for slaves. Respect and honor and love and, understanding of these energies is something totally different. Worship is idolatry. That's idol worship. That's graven image, bowing down to a graven image. That's what all of that is. And all of those things that are written in the Bible, people are looking at it through the lens of a human. They're not looking at it from the spirit. God don't need you to worship him. God wants you to respect, wants you to love, honor. God didn't create no motherfucking slaves. See, that's the problem with black people. Black people have been enslaved so much through religious institution, religious indoctrination, Jim Crow. So it's easy to put you up under mind control, just like Jim Jones did back in the 60s and 70s, just like Father Divine did back in the 60s and 70s. It's easy to get you in a cult mindset and tell you, oh, the world is going to end. And if you don't do such and such, if you don't follow me to Ukiah, California, or to Guyana, if you don't follow me to these places, you're going to perish. I was watching this movie called Left Behind, not the one I was mentioning earlier with Kevin Sorbo, but another movie called Left Behind or The Rapture or something like that. It was on Tubi. I like movies like that because it gives you an insight into the spiritual realm if you know how to look. See, I know how to look. And what was interesting, it was an all-black movie. Teenie Lester played in it. You know, the big muscular guy that died a few years ago? Teenie Lester, I think he played in Friday. He was a wrestler or whatever. Damn, he was fine too. Shit, I wish I could find me a big, strong black man like that to throw me around in the bedroom. But yeah, that's another story. I'm getting to my freaky deaky side. But anyway, he was in this movie, right? And basically the movie was about the rapture. And it came like a thief in the motherfucking night. And what was so interesting was it did not literally come in the night. It's just that that's another terminology that you have to look at it from a spiritual lens. It just means that it happened so unexpectedly and so quickly, right? And what's interesting is that the people that thought they were going to go, they did not go. The people that didn't think they were going to go, they ended up going. And there were people in church, all on the church floor, wailing and crying and spit coming out their mouth. I mean, they were all wailing, oh, Lord. Pastors, bishops, all of them were left behind. And they were left behind because their heart wasn't right. That heart chakra wasn't right. If you don't do enough work in that, and I'm using heart chakra because I'm not really into that chakra stuff anymore, but I'm using that just as a terminology so people can understand. If your heart is not right, I don't care how many degrees you get in theology. I don't care how many degrees you get in what do they call it, seminary school. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. If your heart is not right, you're not going to elevate to the next level. You're not going to, and they were literally left in hell. And what they're showing you is that hell is not someplace out there. Hell is here with the absence of spirit. Hell is the absence of spirit. And it can be right here on earth for some people. Hell is an individual experience just like heaven is. But these people that were left, they were people in church that were wailing all in the pulpit. Oh, Lord, I thought, no, you were wrong. You were wrong because those people that were left behind, they were only saved and going to church because they were in fear of God. They didn't do it because innately that was their nature. See, God is looking for people who have an innate good nature. He's not worried about, your outburst or your misunderstandings or if you slip or if you sin. He ain't worried about that. When you really read the word, you got to understand the word. And even the old time people, you say, God knows your heart. And a lot of those people that were left behind in that church, a lot of those people, their hearts were not right. They were only going to church as a social thing, or they were only going to church because they wanted social status, or the bishops only went to church so they could, pimp the people for their money. You read all of those scriptures and you read all of those words, but none of that shit touches their heart, because black men have a hardening of the heart. Yes, you do. Black men have a hardening of the heart. You're heartless. You've become everything that you've claimed white people were and white men were. That is what you've become now. They were all up at the, oh Lord, you left me here. Oh, it's all over now. Oh Lord. Yeah, it's over for you because your heart was never right. You only did good things because you thought that that would please God, but you didn't do the good things because you innately really felt that way, or if that was your real spirit. See, God knows your heart, as they say. You didn't do those things because you really were that energy. You didn't do those things because you really felt that way. You did those things because you wanted something in return. You really don't have a good nature. I told you all, people can do good things, but that does not make them good people. And those people that were left behind, they were not operating on a Christ energy level. People can do nice things for you all the time. Even in the scriptures, it says, or I've heard a lot of Christians say that there are going to be a lot of good people. Maybe it doesn't say that in the scriptures. Let me correct that. But they say it's going to be a lot of good people in hell. And what that simply means is that your good deeds don't mean a motherfucking thing if it's not sincere. Just like a lot of these fake conscious niggas, a lot of their good deeds are not sincere. They do it for self-gratification. They don't really have a sincere heart or a pure consciousness, or what they call it, a pure heart. And if you don't have a pure heart, you can do all the good things you want. You can quote all the scriptures you want. You can be all Osiris and Babalu and Babalaos, and you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. But if you don't have a pure heart, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going anywhere. And the reason that a lot of these people will be left behind, and when I say left behind, I don't mean in terms of Christian tradition or that Christian belief. The reason they're going to be left behind spiritually and vibrationally is because they don't have a pure heart. Just like them niggas over there in that conscious community. They don't have pure hearts. They're fake and they're phony. They don't have pure hearts. And that is why they will be left behind. That is why all of these people making these videos about the Antichrist and judging other people and what their beliefs are, that is why they're going to be left behind. Talking about people doing witchcraft and all that stuff. Witchcraft is not witchcraft. It's called wisecraft. It's called the wise woman. They only turned it into witch and all that because they want to scare people and they want to vilify the woman's power, especially the black woman's power. Before man, it was woman. And I don't care what nobody say. And I'm not saying that women should be whatever, I'm not saying it in that way. But what I'm saying is nothing is in its rightful place. And that is why things are backwards. They were left behind because they didn't have a pure heart. No matter how many scriptures they read, no matter how well they read the Bible, no matter how well versed they were in the Bible, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what type of homes they lived in. Even some of the ones who did live in mansions and stuff, even they were raptured out with the Lord, or whatever the case may be, because they had a pure heart. Every rich person does not have a corrupt heart. We got to get out of that thinking. There are some rich people that have some very pure hearts that do believe in doing for people. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of good deeds for people all the time, and people don't even know it. And I don't want them to know it because what I do, which I don't have to speak on, it's sincere. Now, enemies, that's a different story. But generally, most people, I have love and respect for most people. Because that's just how it's innately instilled in me. It is not instilled in me to be a person to seek to destroy other people just because. Like a lot of you motherfuckers do on YouTube, harassing people, roasting people, beefing with people, doxing people, fucking with people, attacking people that you don't even know. You don't know if that could be that person, that could be a person already dealing with shit, and then here these niggas come along. This is what you niggas do. And then you wonder why you were wailing in the pulpit. I guarantee you a lot of those niggas that was left in that movie Left Behind, they were probably bullies. They were probably homophobic people, misogynistic men and women who thought they knew everything and could quote every biblical scripture to you. And yes, in Thessalonians it says this, in Corinthians it said that. And then they asses got left right motherfucking behind. The bishop got left motherfucking behind because his intentions were not right. A lot of these motherfucking so-called well-known preachers are going to be left behind vibrationally and spiritually and esoterically, because their hearts are not in a pure place. A lot of these conscious niggas are going to be left behind. And I don't mean in the terms of the Christian Bible. We're talking about spiritual evolution and spiritual elevation. That is what we're talking about in terms of that. It's not about no motherfucking money. It's not about no houses. Because he that seeks the spirit within him will have access to many mansions. Because even in the Bible, Jesus says there are many mansions in my Father's kingdom. Shit, I should have been the reason I can speak like this is because it's in my blood. My grandfather was a minister. My great-grandfather was a minister. My great aunt is a minister. And I'm talking about my mother's father was a minister. His father was a minister. I have the spirit in me. That is why I can speak like this. This is innate. This is innate. This ain't come from no fucking book. This is innately embedded in me. And that is what makes me a powerful warlock. That is what makes me a powerful witch. That is what makes me a powerful Christian. That is what makes me a powerful Titan. That is what makes me a powerful spirit. And that's why nothing can fucking touch me. Because I'm anointed. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because it's truth. And a lot of you out there are anointed too. You just don't know it. I can talk in tongues and every motherfucking thing, child. I sure can. I don't believe in fearing God. I don't believe in that. Because the God is within me. That's what I was taught. God is within you. Christ is within you. That energy is within you. For you to do with it what you want to do, and for you to practice it however you want to practice it. You don't practice it under the words and guise of other people. You can always have a mentor or somebody like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we live in an age of the Antichrist system. The Antichrist is already here. And people say the spirit of Antichrist. No, it's not the spirit of Antichrist. It's the system of Antichrist. Because the Antichrist is not a spirit per se. It's a system. It's a way of thinking. Because the Antichrist doesn't have spirit. The Antichrist uses words. The Antichrist uses intellect and analytical stuff. The Antichrist uses the left side, which is the world of analytical, of fake spirituality, which is technology, what we call technology. You know, the metaverse and all that old bullshit. That's fake tech. That's fake spirituality, fake technology. And that is what people are into. Our phones are systems of the Antichrist because it disconnects you away from having human interaction. to connecting with other people's spirits. It keeps a barrier between people. Now, they knew exactly what they were doing when they created all these new gadgets and phones and stuff like that, because they knew that that would distract people. They knew that. And they knew it would distract the right amount of people. They knew it. More people spend time with their heads held down than with their heads held high, because you're looking down at someone else instead of looking up to your high counsel or your higher self, as they say. Anyway, I've talked long enough. That's all I had to say, child. This video was not meant to go this long. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's all I have to say. Till next time.